Leadership support for the Vegas PBS production of Makers Women in Nevada History is made possible by the Eleanor Kagi Foundation, a Lynn M. Bennett legacy, supporting animal welfare and education-focused organizations in Southern Nevada. The Eleanor Kagi Foundation. Major sponsorships are provided by Cashman Equipment, a family-owned and operated company that is proud to be a part of Nevada's past, present, and future. Cashman Equipment since 1931. Frank and Victoria Fertitta Foundation Limited, supporting a diversity of causes and organizations that strengthen our community, securing the future of Southern Nevada through philanthropy. MGM Resorts International, which is proud to sponsor Vegas PBS and this broadcast as a celebration of the role women have long played in shaping Nevada. Additional support comes from Bank of America, Comprehensive Cancer Centers of Nevada, Nevada Humanities, Vegas PBS Women's Engagement Council.
I look forward to a day when there are no more firsts, when we're not remarking that the Speaker of the House is a woman.
It upsets me when I hear young women who say, oh, my mother was a feminist, I'm not. Well, you better be, lady, or you're not going to make it.
You can't have an expectation for young folks without giving them the map. You've got to show them where you've been and what then is their responsibility to carry forward that.
By the 1980s, many women were finally reaping the fruits of their labors for rights and equality. But those fruits weren't necessarily low-hanging. Some barriers had fallen and opportunities expanded, yet many challenges remained. In this episode, we meet some Nevadans who met the challenges. We'll also consider the future for young women across the state. We start our story in the 1980s. Evolving technology changed our world and tragedy rocked it.
1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
In 1987, President Ronald Reagan issued a statement heard round the world.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
In our nation and across our state, the walls that existed for women were also beginning to crumble. More of Nevada's makers entered the political arena and took on positions of leadership. Sue Wagner is the first maker we'll meet. Wagner served in the Nevada Assembly, the Senate, and eventually as Nevada's first female lieutenant governor.
Sue is someone who's very supportive of women and always embraces moving women forward.
Sue Wagner was elected to the Nevada Assembly in 1974 when there were few female legislators. These women often learned from and leaned on one another.
I would particularly mention Jean Ford and Mary Gojek. We were there at the same time. We did agree on women's issues, social issues.
Sue Wagner supported issues related to ethics reform, the environment, education, protections for children, and women's rights. She also worked to find funding for domestic violence shelters.
A possible support was charging a $5 fee on a marriage license.
That effort was successful and the bill was pushed through. After 10 years in the Senate, Wagner ran for lieutenant governor.
I thought Sue Wagner would be the first woman governor.
Then when I was campaigning for lieutenant governor, of course, I was in a plane crash myself. That kind of changed my life as well. But I was alive, and somebody in the plane was not. Somebody died.
The tragic accident altered the course of Wagner's life and career.
She realized that while she could do the lieutenant governor's job, the travel, the flying, all those things, the plane crash just
diverted her career.
But Wagner continued to serve the state and its citizens. She taught, mentored, served on boards and the Nevada Gaming Commission.
Having an advisor with the knowledge and the breadth of political experience as Sue Wagner was hugely impactful.
Our next maker, a Nevada native, has also inspired many future leaders.
I got engaged very early on in student government at the University of Nevada, Reno, just as I had in junior high and high school, and wound up my senior year being student body president.
Del Papa was raised to value the importance of education.
When I was a little tiny girl, my father would walk me to school, and I can remember carrying the little envelope that you would put 50 cents a week in for my college education.
After law school, Del Papa won election as regent in the university system in 1979. In 1986, she became the first female Secretary of State. 4 years later, she was elected as Nevada's first Attorney General.
The people of the state were willing to give me a chance.
Del Papa's work as Attorney General included the tobacco settlement, inmate litigation, consumer protection, and domestic violence prevention. She's an advocate for women, a proponent of the arts, the environment, and education.
You see how important it is, again, for all of us, whoever we are, wherever we are, individually and collectively, to do whatever we can to support education.
The next pair of makers will meet are politicians that happen to be from the same family. They represented the state in Congress and state government.
My mother, of course, is Barbara Vukanovich.
Nevada elected Barbara Vukanovich to the United States House of Representatives in 1982, thereby sending its first woman to the U.S. Congress.
Some of my earliest memories of my mother are my sitting on her bedroom floor collating materials for candidates.
In Congress, Vukanovich sought to represent the values of her constituents and the Republican Party.
Repealing the 55 miles an hour speed limit was really popular. I think it's important that we get as much of this history down as we can. And once you read about, if you read about Barbara Vukanovich, well, you know, girls can go to Congress.
Next up, we meet Barbara Buckley, who came to Nevada in the early 1980s. Unlike the other women we've met so far, she didn't grow up around politicians or aspire to go to law school.
My first job when I came to Las Vegas was as a maid at the MGM. I had $800 and I was having trouble getting a legal secretarial position. I'd been a legal secretary in Philadelphia.
Buckley enrolled in classes at UNLV, got a bachelor's degree, and then attended and graduated from the University of Arizona Law School.
I went to law school. I learned about public interest law organizations and legal aid, and that's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. So as soon as I graduated, I took a job at Legal Aid. That was in 1989, and I'm still here. I never thought I could be a lawyer until I had a mentor tell me, of course you can do it. And I never thought I could be a legislator.
In 1994, Buckley was elected to the Nevada Assembly. She served 3 terms as Majority Floor Leader. And in 2007, she made history by being elected the state's first female Speaker of the Assembly.
She knew the issues. I mean, she's a policy wonk.
I guess I'd like to think that I changed people's lives, whether through the law or through my years in the legislature, creating good policy. And maybe, creating opportunity, because that's what really motivates me.
Our next maker is also motivated to create opportunities for the people in her community. Alfreda Mitra is a leader who grew up on the Las Vegas Paiute Colony, now known as the Las Vegas Paiute Tribe.
At a very early age, I understood what leadership meant. I knew that I was an ambassador to my tribe. We're a matriarchal society. Women take care of the history. They're the keepers of the knowledge. They're the givers of life. And they take care of all of the information that's important.
Today, Alfreda Mitra is employed by the United States EPA and Region 8. She works for 27 tribes on 26 reservations.
We are the stewards of the land. We are the caretakers. We are the speakers for the land, the water, and all of the resources that sustain life for all tribal communities.
You can't mention Miriam Shearing enough. She's the first woman elected to the bench. She is the first woman. She was sort of the mother to us all and really was a role model.
Miriam Shearing, a lawyer, and her husband, a doctor, came to Las Vegas in 1969.
The reason we're in Las Vegas is that people in Las Vegas were so welcoming. There were only 10 women attorneys in town at the time.
I ran her very first campaign for Justice of the Peace, and she won out of a field of 17 people.
Shearing was elected as Clark County's Justice of the Peace. In 1983, she became the first woman on the district court. Within 3 years, she was chief judge.
I liked making the decisions and doing what I think is right.
Miriam Shearing eventually decided that Nevada's high court system needed a female voice and that she was the woman for the job. In 1992, she ran for the Nevada Supreme Court. After an extremely contentious election, she won the position and became the state's first female Supreme Court justice.
Some attorneys, and very few, could not accept a woman making those decisions. They would be rude and treat me in ways that, no, they would never treat a male judge.
She made it possible for other women to see themselves in that position, and many women have followed in those footsteps.
One of those women was Karen Bennett Heron. She was the first African-American female ever appointed to the state's justice system at any level.
I went to law school in Houston. I went to Thurgood Marshall School of Law.
In the mid-1980s, Karen Bennett Heron returned to Las Vegas with high hopes of bettering her community. She began her judicial career as law clerk in Clark County, but Bennett Heron soon found herself facing issues related to gender and race.
I remember when I was working for Judge Foley, and as his law clerk, he required us to come in very early, like 6:30 one morning. I came in behind a judge whose name I will not say, and he alerted the bailiffs that a black woman was coming down the hall from the side door. So when I got up to the doorway to go into the judge's chambers, all guns were drawn because, you know, they had alerted him that, you know, what's this black lady doing coming in this doorway? You would think he'd be a little bit more broad-minded, but he wasn't. And that was pretty much my experience throughout my entire professional career.
Despite the challenges, Karen Bennett Heron continued her career in law. She eventually became a judge and then chief judge of the Las Vegas Justice Court, where she continues to serve her community. We've learned from many of the makers we've met thus far that education was the key to their success. Next up, we meet some makers who made their careers supporting Nevada's educational system.
There's a connection between education and economic development because a prepared workforce is what it takes to enhance your economic development foundation.
Our next maker, Jill Derby, used her experience in running for elected office to help train other women to become legislators. In 1988, Derby, a fourth-generation Nevadan, was elected to the Nevada Board of Regents. She served as board chair for 3 terms and remained on the board for 18 years.
I initiated an effort to look at gender equity in the Nevada higher education system, not only in the area of sexual harassment, but in this area too of getting women into non-traditional fields, having a greater representation of women in the faculty, all of it.
This Regents initiative empowered women on many of Nevada's college campuses. Derby's role as regent helped to bring our next maker to UNLV.
I was the chair of the committee at UNLV that hired Carol Harder,
When I looked up all the data about UNLV and the fact that there was only one other university in the state, major public university, I thought this is ground for growth and development and a whole new culture, and it just appealed to me tremendously.
But the process of becoming UNLV's first female president was quite difficult.
One of the reporters, whose name I'm going to forget now, wrote a column about how Carol Harder has as much chance of being successful president as a bowl of ice cream in the desert. That was the column, was all of that. And I lasted longer than anybody else has so far, 11 years as president, so he was wrong about that.
As UNLV's president, Carol Harder forwarded UNLV in many ways, including working for equitable funding between Nevada's universities.
Carol Harder was a remarkable leader in education. And as a president of the university, at a time of great challenge, she was able to step up and put the university on solid ground.
All of the makers we've met thus far proved that women can do it. Our next few women prove the same. They are people who saw unmet needs in their communities and chose to rise and meet them. Las Vegas's current mayor, Carolyn Goodman, did just that.
As the founder of the Meadows School, she put education first, and she found an alternative for those who were seeking an alternative.
In the 1970s, when the Las Vegas Valley began growing faster than the school district, Carolyn Goodman found community support and created the Meadows School.
The purpose of the school was to have the children coming out of Nevada and southern Nevada competitive with people coming in, children coming in from around the world for the top spots in the top colleges in this country. First thing right out of the bat in planning was, how are we going to support the non-able to pay their piece of the tuition? So we were very interested in financial aid.
The Meadows School certainly achieved their goals. A large percentage of its students are accepted into four-year colleges. In other Nevada communities, some children's potential had yet to be tapped. Our next two makers helped them to find pathways to success.
Linda Rivera and I co-founded the Family Leadership Initiative. The main goal was to continue to meet with parents at the schools and encourage them to become teachers in the home.
Our end goal was to have active community citizens. Dare to be a voice for your family. Dare to know that you came here wanting more for your families. After our parents started to feel that empowerment, and today we have many students who are in charter schools.
Because of the advances in rights and attitudes, today's women can enter into nearly any occupation they choose to. Next up, we look at three makers who work in the fields of science, medicine, and technology.
The opportunities for women have really opened up quite a bit from just even one generation. And I think education is a big part of that.
Nancy Wong's company works to advance the fields of science and technology in America.
One of our current prime contracts is the Research Facilities and Engineering Support Services contract at Armstrong Flight Research Center at Edwards. And what we do is support aeronautical research for NASA.
While Wong's business seeks to expand the potential of humans in space, our next maker's focus is expanding the possibilities of the human mind and body through medicine.
Right now, I am leading the research program at the Center for Brain Health. I am leading the team to conducting clinical research and clinical trial to find ways how we can prevent, how we can provide early detection, and how we can treat brain diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Zong grew up in China with parents who stressed the importance of education. By age 16, she'd entered medical school and at 22 brought her skills to America. Today, she encourages other young women to strive for greatness.
No matter your background, no matter where you grew up, but with passion, with determination, with compassion, you can make a difference.
Our next maker is a history maker in Nevada. Pat Mulroy has spent the bulk of her career serving the state and its citizens.
In August of '89, I became general manager of the Las Vegas Valley Water District.
At the time, Las Vegas was transforming into a full-fledged resort destination. New residents flocked to the valley in droves. And more people meant more strain on Southern Nevada's water resources.
Water in 1989 reached a crisis level. The best we could hope for was that we wouldn't run out until 1993. Now that was a scary proposition.
The effort to supply adequate water to Southern Nevada was a battle then and remains an issue today.
The Las Vegas Strip is not where Southern Nevada uses its water. Consumptively, the Strip uses 3% of Southern Nevada's water, and with that is the single largest employer in the entire state of Nevada. The biggest users in Southern Nevada are the residences, whether we like to admit it or not.
Pat Mulroy has spent much of her career balancing the needs of the community and its resources, continually adapting. And that effort continues today in her work with the Brookings Institute for Climate Change Adaptation. In the 1990s, Las Vegas was one of the fastest-growing cities in the nation. The gaming industry fueled much of that growth, and our next maker, Jan Jones, was serving as Las Vegas's first female mayor.
I remember when Jan Jones was elected mayor, and what a sea change that was.
Jan Jones sought to break stereotypes against both women and her city.
There was a woman who was then at the table, who in many ways reflected that Las Vegas was a different kind of community that everybody thought. Women weren't only on the casino floor or on stage, that women actually could lead. And because I was the mayor of the city, whether the men wanted to deal with me or not, they had no choice.
During her 2 terms as Las Vegas's mayor, Jan Jones took on the many challenges associated with the fast-growing city. There were highways and schools to build, the city needed a bus system, and a new water delivery system.
People forget Las Vegas was a very small town who had to become a sophisticated city quickly.
Jan Jones served as mayor from 1991 to 99, and then she moved into the gaming industry. Whether building businesses or building her community, Jan Jones has always supported the efforts of women.
You have to look for opportunities to support and promote and mentor and change environments so that women can lead and succeed.
Our next maker, Renee West, is an example of the next generation of leaders in gaming. She's the president and chief operating officer of 2 Strip properties, the Excalibur and the Luxor.
I really didn't set out to be in hospitality. What my original goal was to design a career for myself that was portable and that also encompassed the things that I thought that I was good at and that I enjoyed.
Chosen field or not, the gaming industry is where Renee West has made her mark. And it was West's mother who helped her to grow up believing in her own potential.
Everything was possible to her. And that was kind of the environment that I grew up in, where you could do anything you want to do. Just go do it.
Now, West has a leadership role and she's dedicating herself to providing a positive work environment.
My goal has always been to create a workplace where every single employee feels like they can make their best contribution.
Both Renee West and Jan Jones represent smart and successful businesswomen who've helped forward the gaming industry and the Las Vegas community. Our next maker has also dedicated much of her career to improving the world around her by providing Southern Nevadans access to the arts.
Nancy Housels really brought culture to the forefront in Southern Nevada.
Nancy Housels came to Las Vegas in 1966 as part of the dance team Zoni and Claire.
I think we signed for 6 months and stayed for 2 years. Then at the end of that run, I said, I'm never coming back to Vegas because it was a hard job for an act.
Housels retired from dancing in order to raise her family. In 1972, she returned to her roots when she and Vasily Sulich, with support from the community, established the Nevada Dance Theater. Today, the facility is known as Nevada Ballet Theater. Housels also spearheaded the effort to create the Smith Center. The center provides world-class performing arts to Southern Nevada.
Performing arts centers usually bring in the finer arts. The resident companies are the Philharmonic and Nevada Ballet Theater.
Nancy Housel's commitment to her craft, her community, and to helping children defines her as a maker. As we near the close of our show, let's find out what messages our makers have for today's young women and the women of the future.
Follow your dreams, because I really feel that what you want to do will really enable you to be successful.
Dare to stand in the front, because if you stand in the front, you're equal to others.
If you believe in something strongly enough, you must keep at it and not give up.
My message to her is that she has limitless opportunities and that the world's awaiting her.
Leadership support for the Vegas PBS production of Makers, Women in Nevada History is made possible by the Eleanor Kagi Foundation, a Lynn M. Bennett legacy, supporting animal welfare and education-focused organizations in Southern Nevada. The Eleanor Kagi Foundation. Major sponsorships are provided by Cashman Equipment, a family-owned and operated company that is proud to be a part of Nevada's past, present, and future. Cashman Equipment since 1931. Frank and Victoria Fertitta Foundation Limited, supporting a diversity of causes and organizations that strengthen our community, securing the future of Southern Nevada through philanthropy. MGM Resorts International, which is proud to sponsor Vegas PBS and this broadcast as a celebration of the role women have long played in shaping Nevada. Additional support comes from Bank of America, Comprehensive Cancer Centers of Nevada, Nevada Humanities, Vegas PBS Women's Engagement Council.